What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi today, as we take our last episode for the first quarter of 2024, the last Monday of the month of March 2024. Like joke, 1 quarter of 2024 is almost gone, and God has seen us through thus far. We appreciate Him. We signed off last week on the principle of stress management from My Healing Scriptures. And that's from the book of Exodus 18, from verse 17 to verse 23. And that's where I want to start off today. Exodus 18, 17 to 23. I'll lay a few thoughts on the table, and then we will read 1 or 2 more scriptures and meditate on them in this series on My Healing Scriptures. It's been 3 months we've been talking about My Healing Scriptures. I thought that by now we will have reached the book of Revelation. But here we are, still stuck in the book of Exodus. Only the first 2 books of the Holy Bible, exploring healing scriptures. Of course, we've been branching here and there to other books of the Bible, to the book of Psalms, Proverbs, Songs of Solomon, to Jeremiah, to Matthew, to 1 Peter, to Revelation, to Ephesians, and what have you, Acts of the Apostles. But we have been taking our root texts from either Genesis or Exodus. And so today, I read Exodus 18, verses 17 to 23 again, to give us context so we can take off from there. So Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you do is not good. Both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out." Now, Moses was not managing his schedule properly. He was working hard, but he was not working smart. He was a heavily anointed, highly respectable man of God, but he lacked the administrative skills to manage things in his schedule. Okay, so we learn a lot of lessons here, that the fact that you are called of God, the fact that you are an anointed man or woman of God, does not mean that you automatically possess administrative skills. It is a skill that you have to learn. It is a skill you have to acquire. And you must be humble enough to submit yourself to tutelage, to mentoring. Okay, because you see, God has made it in such a way that no one is an island. No one is self-sufficient. We are all interdependent. We are interrelated and interdependent. And there's no need for competition or fighting one another, but there is every need for cooperation and collaboration. I need you, you need me. Where I am strong, you are weak. Where you are strong, I am weak. And so you strengthen me in my area of weakness, I strengthen you in your area of weakness. Iron sharpens iron. Okay? That's what the Bible prescribes. So Moses' father-in-law told him, and I repeat, said, "The thing that you do is not good." The way you are running your life, the way you are running your schedule is not good. You don't have administrative structures and systems in place to help you to optimize your activities and processes so that you can increase productivity without burning out. Okay? Many of us, particularly ministers of the gospel, particularly people in the ministry who may never have worked in the secular before, and may never have been trained. They never went through any management trainee program before they came into the ministry. They left school and they just maybe went to Bible school where they didn't train them a lot in administration. They trained them in theology and church growth and all of that, pastoral care, but they never trained them in administration properly. Such people are as well-intentioned as they are, as anointed as they are, they lack the skills, administrative skills, to institute structures and systems that can make things to run without necessarily building things around themselves. Some ministers, if they should leave their platform, leave their church for 2 weeks, almost everything will crumble, because everything in that ministry is built around them. So if they are not there, nothing can happen. They are the ones that take all the decisions, big decisions, small decisions. They are the ones that sign all checks. They are the ones that approve all payments. Everything revolves around their table. They can't go on vacation. They can't leave their church or their ministry for 1 month for vacation. Everything will collapse. You know, one of my friends, minister friends, we were discussing recently, and he was telling me how he realized that he was making that mistake, and he made an effort to correct that mistake. And in correcting that mistake, he made another mistake in the process. And then he realized that he had made another mistake, that he has actually repeated the same mistake that he was trying to correct. Now, let me explain to you what he said to me. He said, I found out that I was building all the operations, all the activities of this ministry around myself. Everything starts and ends on my table. So the moment I step out to travel, I'm not on ground, things just grind to a halt. So when I realized that, oh, this is a mistake, I'm building everything around myself, I said, no, I want to, devolve power, so to speak, and authority. In terms of politics, we call that devolution of power, where we do not concentrate all power at the center, federal government, where the states are powerless, the local governments are powerless. In the devolution of power, you cede some powers to the states and some powers to the local governments so that the center can be lighter, all right? So he said, I decided to devolve power, to take everything from my table so that I only handle some strategic things. He said then, in the process of trying to do that, I started shifting many tasks and many responsibilities to one of my close associates. That one became more or less like the assistant general overseer, even though they didn't give him that nomenclature or that title, but he was, heaping responsibilities on him, delegating responsibilities to him, and building all the processes and all the things around him. So before he realized it, yes, he was able to free himself from this. But the mistake he made was that he now built everything around one man again. So whenever the general overseer, traveled, and that one man is on ground, things will work well. And so he came back and felt happy. Oh yeah, things are working without me. But then he realized that the day that man that he had built everything around also had to travel and was not on ground, everything collapsed again. And then he realized he had made another mistake. So he now realized that, look, I don't have to build my structures and systems around single individuals, but I just need to put structures and systems in place and build a team so that if one or two members of the team are not around, the others that are around can fill in the gaps and things can keep going. That's how to set up administration such that with or without you, things can go on. By the grace of God, we have been able to do that in our ministry, in the Shepherd's Flock International Church. I was able to travel, for example, last year, 2023, out of the country for 5 consecutive months. 5 consecutive months I was out of Nigeria, and everything was going. In fact, when I came back, things were better than I left them. The ministry had grown. Many projects had been executed in my absence because the people on ground, we have a strong team on ground that were, very loyal, very dedicated. They love the Lord, and they are serving the Lord with the whole of their heart, and everybody is contributing his or her quota, and things are working so well. That's the principle of delegation. So Moses didn't do that, and he was wearing himself out. Many people have died before their time. Many people have broken down and become sick because of this error. And Moses' father-in-law was helping him to correct it before it got too late. And so he told him, said, this thing that you do is not good. If you continue like that, he said this will be the consequence. Look at verse 18 of Exodus 18. Exodus 18:18. He said, both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. I mean, yes, you could say, but it was God who called me and gave me this assignment, gave me this commission, gave me this mandate. Nobody is doubting that. But the God who called you didn't call you to do it alone. He called you to be the arrowhead. He called you to be the set man or set woman. He didn't call you to do it alone. He called you so that you can walk in wisdom and build a team that will support you in fulfilling that mandate. So Moses' father-in-law said, this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. And now look at verse 19 of Exodus chapter 18. He said, listen now to my voice. Listen to me. Listen now to my voice. He said, I will give you counsel. Listen to me. And I love the word now. He said, don't postpone this. Don't procrastinate. Listen now. Don't say, okay, I will do it next year. Okay, I will do it next month. Or I will do it next week. Or I will do it tomorrow. He said, listen now. Do it now. Effect all the changes that you need to do now. After listening to this expose now, I want you to go back to the drawing board. Go back to your table and begin to ask yourself some pointed questions. What can I delegate to others? Who are the trusted men and women that God has sent my way? Recognize them. Recognize the grace they carry. Recognize the skills they have. If you need to employ new hands, additional hands, do so and train them. Then supervise them, inspect them, and they will do what you expect. And once they have mastered it, you can gradually begin to pull back, and then they will carry on autopilot. You give them your expectations, and then you inspect what they are doing until it becomes second nature to them, and they can almost function without inspection. All right. So he said, listen now. The emphasis is on now. Listen to my voice, the voice of reason, the voice of wisdom, the voice of experience, the voice of a skillful man, the voice of maturity. I am your father-in-law. I am old to be your father. I have seen things that you haven't seen. I can tell you what you don't know. You may be more anointed than me. You may have performed miracles than me. But when it comes to experience, you don't have as much as I do. So listen to me now. And thank God that Moses was humble enough. He didn't allow his success and his greatness to get into his head. He listened to the voice of reason. All right? And he says, if you listen to my voice, he said, I will give you counsel and God will be with you. So you see two things that are working together to make Moses successful on the one hand and to last on the other hand. First is that God will be with him. God being with him is a critical factor. But much more than that, he says, I will give you counsel. So counsel, which is wisdom, plus God being with you. There are many people that God is with them, but they don't take counsel. They don't take counsel. And that becomes their albatross. That becomes their undoing. Because they don't listen to the voice of reason. They don't take counsel. They refuse to be mentored. They refuse to be discipled. They refuse to be trained. They refuse to be coached because they just know that God is with them. I am anointed. I am called. I had an encounter with God. Nobody is disputing that. Nobody is contesting that. Nobody is discounting that. Yeah, that is there. Yeah, that is just one ingredient. You need other ingredients to make your soup, brother. You need other ingredients. You also need counsel. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. You see, there are two tragedies, two things that can end up in tragedies for a man. One is for you to listen to nobody. That's one tragedy. Listen to nobody. Second tragedy, listen to everybody. You have to find a middle ground. And then you'll be able to manage your stress. I read one more verse and then we go on a short break. Verse 23 of Exodus chapter 18, verse 23. It says, if you do this thing that I'm telling you, that's Moses' father-in-law, underscoring it for Moses. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, except God tells you not to do as I am telling you, but if God does not object to it, and of course, from what we know, God didn't object. God didn't say, Moses, don't listen to that man. It's not anointed. It's not born again. Okay? Don't listen to him. God did not object. God knew that what that man was telling him was the truth. And so God endorsed it. God expected Moses to listen to that man, to his father-in-law. He said, if you do this thing and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure. This is how to endure in ministry. This is how to last in life. This is how to live long. You'll be able to endure. And all these people will also go to their place in peace. I have mentioned the word peace in the past. In one of the episodes, shalom. It means peace. It means prosperity. It means success. It means victory. It means breakthrough. Okay? All these people will be blessed. All these people will be healed. Because shalom also means healing. All these people will be healed. All these people will succeed. All these people will be productive if you listen to this counsel, the principle of stress management. We'll go on this short break, and when we come back, we'll continue in our discourse on my healing scriptures. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, brought to you 8 p.m. West African time on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. And I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi is my name. We are talking about my healing scriptures, and we've been doing that since January 2024 up until this point. And God, by His Spirit, has opened our eyes, the eyes of our understanding, to see many, many items of truth from the Holy Scriptures, the Word of God. Now, by the way, the word scriptures, as you can see, begins with the word script. Scriptures begins with the word script. I see the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, as God's divine script for my life. That's the script that God has written for me. And if I play by the script, then everything will turn out the way it was designed to turn out. When you see a movie star, an actor, a Hollywood actor, a Nollywood actor, a Bollywood actor, they always act by the script. There is a script for every movie. For every drama, there is a script. Act 1, scene 1, Act 1, scene 2, Act 2, scene 1, and like that. And every good actor knows that they have to play by the script so that everything can turn out as intended. God has also given us a script. It's called the Scriptures, the Holy Scriptures. And your life will only turn out beautifully well if you choose intentionally, by your own volition, deliberately, to play according to the script. In other words, you live your life by what the script says, what the Scriptures say. All right. And we're talking about Exodus 18 here, from verse 18 to verse 24, where Moses' father-in-law gave him a powerful principle for wellness and longevity. And that is the principle of delegation of duties, delegation of responsibilities, delegation in order to relieve yourself of a heavy burden so that you don't wear yourself out, so you don't burn out. Because it's easy to burn out if you don't learn the principle of stress management and the principle of delegation. It happened to the prophet Elijah. He got burnt out, and he got to the point where he became even suicidal, and he was asking God to take his life, kill me. I'm the only prophet remaining. All other prophets, blah, 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 blah. God said, no, you're not the only prophet alive. I have 7,000 others somewhere. You're not the only one. He was speaking out of frustration, out of burnout, out of a place of depression, so to speak, because he was a lone ranger. He didn't have any team members, to work with. And so he burnt out. If you don't want to burn out, if you don't want to break down, if you want to endure, if you want to last, sit down and learn the principles of delegation and stress management. All right. Well, so you need to pray for grace to be humble, to learn what you need to learn, and you need to also be trusting enough in your people that God has given you to be co-laborers with you. Trust them enough to give them responsibilities and trust them that they will do it. Where they need training, train them. Okay? Build their capacity, and you'll be helping yourself. There are some who don't want to train their team members. They don't want to train their staff because they believe that, once he knows the job very well, he will leave me and go and set up his own. Okay? And so what is wrong with that? If he has to do that, God will always bring others to come in there. You become, a trainer, a mentor, a godfather, so to speak, if you are raising men and women left, right, and center. But if you keep things to yourself and you want to do it alone, then you will die alone. God forbid. Take wisdom from the Word of God, my healing scriptures. Okay, so the principle of stress management are also principles that are very, very critical. First of all, you have to understand what are stressors. What are the things that stress you? Those are called stressors. Understand them very well. I have written a whole chapter on this in my book, How to Regain and Retain Your Health. Again, you can go to my website, tonyakinyemi.com, and you can have a digital download of that book there. And in one chapter on stress management, I have elaborated on this. And I gave 21 tips on how to bust your stress, how to manage your stress so they don't kill you. Okay, so you need to identify stressors in your life. What are the things stressing me? And two, you have to distinguish between a stress activity and a stress environment. There are stress activities and there are stress environments. Stress activities are called stress events. These are events that happen in our lives and they stress us. These events usually are not chronic. In other words, they are not ongoing events, so to speak. They are most of the time, they are hit and run kind of events, so to speak. For example, every February thereabout, we hold our church convention centered around our church anniversary. This year, 2024, February 1 to 4, we celebrated our 20th anniversary in the ministry here at the Shepherd's Flock International Church. Okay? And each time the anniversary is about to happen, weeks leading up to the anniversary, there's a lot of preparation, a lot of planning, a lot of praying, a lot of fasting, a lot of waiting on the Lord, a lot of projects, so many things going on leading up to the anniversary. That can be very stressful. That is an example of a stress event. But you see, it doesn't happen all the 12 months of the year. It happens in its own season. Those are stress events. A woman can carry a pregnancy for 9 months and then go to the labor ward to deliver the baby. That's a stress event that stressed the body of that woman, but she's not in that stressful situation for 9 years. She's in it for 9 months. Of course, as soon as the baby is delivered, another type of stress event begins. The raising of those children. That's another very tasking and stress event going on there. Again, that can last for years, but it's not forever. A season is coming when those children will be grown and the parents will be relieved of, tending them and caring for them and watching over them and supervising them. That season will pass. All right. So we have stress events. Then we have stress environments. Stress environments have to do with environments that are very stressful. And if you want me to give you an illustration, I will say come to Lagos, Nigeria, and you will understand without consulting your dictionary. You will understand what a stress environment means. To commute from point A to point B is usually very difficult because of very terrible traffic situation. Mass transit system is not yet the best. We thank God things are, getting better. The government is working at it. Now we're having rail lines. The blue line, the red line is coming up in Lagos State. And I clap my hand for the government of Lagos State. I say kudos for that. And we want many more of that to come. We've been waiting for the 4th mainland bridge to come on stream for years. It has not yet materialized, but we do hope that very soon that will come on stream as well. And many more transit situations, mass transit situations, infrastructure will come in place. When that happens, then we can beat our chest in Lagos State, Nigeria, and say, see, with the infrastructure we have in ground, transportation infrastructure we have on ground, by water, by rail, by road transportation, rail transportation, water transportation, all of these things aggregated and consolidated, that we can beat our chest and say, you can move from any one point in Lagos to another point in Lagos in less than 1 hour. When we achieve that, then we will have significantly reduced the stress quotient of the Lagos environment. Okay? Many people wake up as early as 4 a.m. in Lagos. They leave their home as early as 5 a.m. for them to be able to get to work before 8 a.m. That's how stressful it can be. Some close at 6 o'clock and they don't get home until 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. That is the definition of a stress environment. When you interface with civil servants in Nigeria, whether it's federal civil servants or state civil servants or local government civil servants, you need to get some things done with government. They deliberately, many times, except in a few exceptions, make things so difficult. They put roadblocks everywhere to make it difficult for you to access government service, thereby creating unnecessary stress for citizens. That creates a stress environment. Things that people get done easily elsewhere, you have to sweat and sweat. Sometimes they want to make you to bribe them before they get things done. That creates a stress environment. I know people sometimes don't like me talking about this, but you see, if we sweep these things under the carpet and we don't talk about it, then when are we going to correct them? I was in one country the other day, and my host wanted to renew his driver's license. And I just said, I want to follow you. I want to see the process. I want to see how this thing is done here in your country. And when we got to the driver's license office where they renewed his license, we got there and we saw a queue of maybe about 10 people or so on the queue. And he just stood there on the queue. And there were many, many cubicles where people were being served by focused and dedicated civil servants, government workers. They were there at their duty post. And they had all the tools they need. Everybody had, a workstation in front of him. They have a laptop in front of them, and they were working. And before we could say Jack Robinson, in less than 10 minutes, it was the turn of my host. He got in front of them there, and one or two things, and bang, 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 before they knew it was ready. They issued him a temporary one to replace his expired driver's license, and they said, expect the real one in the mail. It will be mailed to your address. And within 1 week, that driver's license was mailed to his house address. And I said, wait a minute. If this was in my country, you go online, network will not work. And the website will not work. When it works, you fill all the forms you submit. They say, be expecting feedback. 3 months, you will not get any feedback. Then you have to go to their office. And when you get there, they will say, sit down. Office resumes at 8 o'clock. You get there by 8 o'clock. The officer in charge will not come until 9 or 9:30. And then he comes in, he will sit down first of all with a mirrmirror and begin to comb his hair and address and apply makeup and lipstick. And then after she has satisfied herself very well, she will now go and buy breakfast and begin to eat, and you are waiting. All these things create stress for the people. You are traveling on the road, 100 kilometers journey, you will meet 4 or 5 checkpoints. And all they are asking is park. And they're asking exactly the same documents, every point. This is stress environment. We all need to help one another. We need to de-stress our country. Nigeria, we need to de-stress our country. I am not bashing my country. I am contributing my quota to nation building. I want us to wake up, and I want us to correct our errors, correct our maladies, heal our diseases, and let things begin to work well the way they should, so that we can minimize the stress that we are bringing upon ourselves unduly and unnecessarily, so our life expectancy can go up. Stress environment. And then, of course, we also need to understand the principle of stress response. How do you respond to stress? There are two ways to respond to stress. One is what we call, you have what we call stress fitness. And the other one is stress aggravation. You can respond to the stress in your environment in the right way to mitigate the impact of stress on your health. And that is called stress fitness. But when you respond to stress in the wrong way, then you aggravate things. That's called stress aggravation. If I'm driving on the road, for example, and maybe another driver on the road, particularly, these Danfo drivers on Lagos Street, and they drive rough for you, and then I go and block him in the front, and then I come down, open his door, and then we are altercating, we are doing a shouting match, and it goes to the point where we even aggravate things. Before I know it, I slap him, boah, and then he slaps me, and then that is stress aggravation. You are not responding to stress correctly. Stress aggravation. But if somebody drove rough for you on the road and you just go your way, as long as he has not damaged your car or done any of such things, just go your way. That is stress fitness. Okay? There are many things you just have to maintain your cool. Just calm down. Calm down. So that you don't aggravate things. That's how to respond to stress. Of course, that's just one example. There are different types of stressors. The type of stressor will determine the appropriate way to respond to it so that it does not damage your health in the end. That's what we call stress fitness, as opposed to stress aggravation. Some people, when they are stressed up, they just go and overeat, or they start drinking alcohol, or they start smoking. You are aggravating the situation. Those are stress aggravators. All right. May the Lord give you wisdom and the grace to be able to address your stress. May the Lord give you peace. May the Lord help you to live in the midst of a stress environment unscathed, unperturbed, undisturbed. May the peace of God that passes understanding possess your soul. It's been Exposé with Tony Akinyemi this beautiful Monday evening. I want to especially thank you for spending your Monday evening with me. And I pray that the rest of your week be beautiful, productive, and result-oriented. May God watch over you, keep you, and bless you. May your dreams be fulfilled. May grace be available to you. May God's wisdom be operational in your life. May His anointing work through you to accomplish great things throughout this week. And if you are weak or sick in any part of your body, receive your healing in the name of Jesus Christ. May the scriptures be the script by which you prosecute your life, by which you conduct your affairs, by which you conduct your business, by which you run your family, by which you run your life. And you will never be a failure if you do that. God bless you. I love you. Have a terrific week. Bye.